Yes, another flashback episode that we all knew was coming. Since the show is all about teaching the audience about viewing this galaxy as we know it from a different perspective, why not give us another flashback of the exact same incident? Wouldn't want to miss the chance for another gotcha moment to continue to make the audience feel like a bunch of bigots. Welcome in, everyone. I'm the disapproving dad. Let's get this over with. This week's episode starts with the Jedi collecting plant samples, and Master Andara goes on to tell the audience, that was so cleverly disguised as her talking to her Padawan, that what they are doing is so incredibly important as they are looking for something. It's described as a vergence in the Force they believe is the core of some immense power. And what better way to find it than a metal detector? They didn't even try to make this look like it belongs in the world of Star Wars. It's like they literally grabbed a metal detector out of the hands of some old guy combing the sands on a beach and threw it on set. Remember, folks, $180 million on this theater production of a show. Clearly, no expense was spared. Definitely no money laundering going on here. Remind me to get the accountants who run this show to do my taxes for me this year. After 7 weeks of conducting their science experiments, because Jedi are scientists now, Master Soul spots 2 Force-sensitive children just wandering through the trees and decides to follow them back to their totally not obvious fortress in the mountains that the Jedi failed to see after surveying the planet for 7 weeks. Master Soul walks up to the control panel and just presses one button to hear. He just gives up and just turns and looks up this steep, massive stone wall. Like, come on, man, did you just forget you are a Jedi? That's all you got? Push the button one time. Clearly, the next step in the decision-making process is to rock climb. Master Soul then sneaks in, sees everyone inside, and goes back to camp and is just like, yep, witches, with absolutely no context or explanation. The Jedi then make a plan to return, to break in, at night. Yes, this is definitely the best way to make contact with a group of people you have absolutely never met before. And I gotta give it to the dialogue. It's just superb in this episode. Torben goes, "Master, we must escort you." To which Master Andara responds, "No, it's too risky. They will take it as a threat." As she completely forgets the fact they are actively breaking into this group's home in the middle of the night. Master Soul then says, "We must do this as a team." To which Master Andara is like, "Damn, that's a good point. But make sure to stay vigilant." Just outstanding writing. Absolute masterclass. The Jedi finish burglarizing the front door to this fortress and walk inside, and you get a great shot of their pajama-looking Jedi robes. I've seen more convincing Jedi costumes in the discount kids section the week after Halloween. Padawan Torben's thoughts then get infiltrated by Mother Anastasia, and he is sent into a trance while the rest of the Jedi stand there talking. Just like this other scene that I remember. Except that one was actually shot incredibly well and furthered the plot. I also apologize for comparing Mother Anastasia to Galadriel, and that's the Lord of the Rings Galadriel. I would gladly compare Mother Anastasia's terrible performance to whatever Morfydd Clark was doing on the set of Rings of Power.
There's a tempest
I'm
in me.
sure there is. The Jedi then head back to their ship as the story cannot figure out what their purpose is in all of this. Master Soul says, "I feel a connection to Osha." Like, dude, you've barely talked to her today. Sounds a little creepy. Master Andara then says, "The girls are too old and they cannot seriously be tested." Master Soul responds with, "I feel she was meant to be my Padawan." And now he is somehow worried about her safety because her sister is marked and she is not. May comes into the ship and lies on the screen test and mentions the word sacrifice as something Mother Anastasia mentions to her when it comes to fulfilling her destiny. The twins leave and Torben mentions the twins have a high M count. Also, it is clearly stated on his Jedi iPad the twins come from a vergence in the Force. The twin souls somehow split, and they are in fact one and the same. The Jedi then decide they need to take the girls to prove there is a vergence to the other Jedi back on Coruscant. The 2 young girls, who are just absolutely the key to everything. Make it stop. We are so over that story, Hollywood. Stop telling the same stories over and over again. Osha then explains to Mother Anastasia she wants to be a Jedi after just learning about Jedi the day prior. And May is then coerced into trying to keep Osha there in the fortress by lesbian Space Witch number 2, and then she orchestrates a coup, because why not? Master Sol and Torben get back to the witch's fortress, and even though we have spliced the door open before, Sol reverts back to rock climbing again. Dude, you are in a panic trying to capture these girls from what you already said was a dangerous situation, and then you just completely forgot about the lightsaber on your belt, where, I don't know, you could have cut your way through the door maybe? No, it would make much more sense to waste time and scale the massive stone wall again. Thank God Master Sol has kept up with his cardio before all this, and it wasn't Jedi Padawan Jelly Donut here on this mission with them. Master Indara says to Master Kaunaka, "We must go before he starts a conflict." It's like these writers have never actually held a conversation with someone before. I mean, you ripped off quite a few other shows and movies when writing this train wreck. The least you could have done was copy a decent bit of dialogue. Ah yes, all our concerns over the massive fire in the rock fortress have been quelled after the writers, oh so cleverly, had May burn a few pieces of what looks like parchment paper with her 1920s oil lamp before throwing them against the wall made of solid rock, which proceeds to ignite everything. Phew, that was almost a disaster. And then I guess May instantly regrets it as she awkwardly just tries to stamp it out immediately after starting the fire. Master Sol, what are you doing? Let's watch that again. It's like the director told the actor to not think about his walking, which caused him to then absolutely think about it. And he awkwardly stepped to the center of the courtyard and the director was just like, screw it, cut, finalize it, put it in there. Mother Anastasia then says, "One day, your noble intentions you all have will kill every Jedi in the galaxy." Wow, what great foreshadowing. See, toxic fans? See what we did here? We connected it to the prequels. This is real Star Wars. Mother Anastasia then turns demonic. Original idea from the writers, maybe? Nope, seen that before too. Master Sol then stabs her with his lightsaber and catches her as she tells him, "I was going to let Osha go all along." May then runs up to Mother Anastasia as she is on the ground, now believed to be dead. Look, child actors are products of their directors, and I find it hard to bash them. But my God, my daughter shows more emotion after she gets told she can't have ice cream after dinner compared to what I just saw here in this scene. Lesbian Space Witch number 2 then tells May to run, and the other lesbian space witches watching from the balcony start shooting their modified Nerf light bows unenthusiastically at the Jedi. And yes, the lit parchment paper and oil lamp inside the rock fortress that caused a fire has now caused massive explosions and severe structural damage. And then lesbian Space Witch number 2 just turns into black smoke, because in this episode we just established they can do this now, and she flies away for the moment. An original thought from the writers maybe? Nope, still nope. The lesbian space smoke witch then infiltrates the mind of Master Kaunaka and ignites his lightsaber, and we proceed to get a horrendously choreographed fight where we are supposed to believe there is some sort of real apparent danger here. The chanting witches inside the fortress then just die all at once together, and it doesn't get addressed again in this episode. In this series, Leslye Headland wants the Jedi to be the bad guys so bad. Everything would have happened in almost the exact same way inside the fortress and probably would have still sparked an internal coup since lesbian Space Witch Anastasia wanted to let Osha go with Master Sol and was going to upset lesbian Space Witch number 2. Lesbian Space Witch number 2 then leaves Kaunaka's body. We get the exact same scene from the other episode where Master Sol sees May fall, and then they just go back to their ship. Master Indara and Master Sol then speak with each other on their ship as they leave. And they're trying to figure out what they're going to tell the council, to which they decide they're going to tell them, oh, it was May that burned down the fortress. And that's exactly what happened. The Jedi do not look like the bad guys here. They were actually just trying to help. But somehow we as the audience are to believe they are the bad guys for simply being there, as they somewhat manipulated the situation by trying to test these girls that were clearly force sensitive. So I'm also really supposed to believe that Master Torben commits suicide because he was so upset about what happened that night. Unbelievable. And that's it. You now have all the info you need for the season finale, which airs next week. Storytelling is going to be a lost art. Thank you, Leslye Headland, for the mental gymnastics you made me go through this week. It was so bad that you even forgot to include the woke beats so obviously thrown in your face like in the last few episodes. It is so hard to believe why this show only has a 14% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. If you made it with me this long, I want to thank you for watching. Do me a favor and subscribe to my channel, where I will be releasing my reaction to the ending of quite possibly the worst show ever produced in modern television next week. Stay tuned for further.